Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are fixing a copy of Tecmo Super Bowl for NES. I picked this up off of eBay. The seller said that he was having problems with it and it wasn't working, and there was a rattle inside of it. Yep, that's certainly a rattle. So let's crack this open and see what's wrong with it. Before I do anything, I always test the cartridges just to see if potentially it will work. And this one seems like it's working great. Loaded up, no problem. I actually played a little bit of it off camera, but the graphics are loading. Don't see any artifacts. Also has sound. Sound is working really well. And you can go through the menus on the game, no problem. So let's take it to the bench and open it up. Just opening up here, making sure that there's no other issues inside once I open it, but yeah, it definitely is a battery that got loose. This seems to happen quite a bit with these older cartridges. I've seen this happen many times already, where the battery just comes out of its little housing. I don't know how well these are secured in place, but as you can see there, it just popped out of that upper left corner. I'm just going to clean up the board real quick just to make sure that I'm starting with a nice clean slate. I always do this with every one of the cartridge based games that I get, especially if they are not working or not working properly. You can see I'm getting a lot of corrosion and other stuff off of there. Q-tip's got a lot of garbage on it, which is probably good that I did this. Just to eliminate that as a potential problem in the future, we'll just clean it up and make sure it's all good. Now we just need to replace that battery. You can pick these up pretty much anywhere. I buy them off of eBay. It's a standard battery size, the CR2032 3 volt. It's a direct replacement with the little tabs on it that can fit into these older cartridges. You just got to make sure that you're buying the ones that have the pins that go straight down instead of the ones that are flat for Game Boys or other Game Boy Color cartridges, stuff like that. Here I am just heating up, adding a little new solder to the existing battery terminals just to make it flow a lot easier. I like to use this ribbon cable that has the flux in it. It's copper. As you can see here, it just sucks it up really nicely right into that cable. Because I added that new solder, it flows a lot quicker too, and it just seems like it works out a lot better. It's just something I prefer. I haven't used a solder sucker before, but I do really prefer the cable to the solder sucker just because it makes it really nice and clean, and it doesn't leave a lot of excess residue. Then as you can see, this pin just pops right out, no problem. Just got to wiggle it a little bit. And just to remove the other one now. Pretty easy process. Like I said, just using that same ribbon cable that has the flux in it. This one was giving me a little bit harder time. I just added a little bit more new solder to it and it sucks it right up, no problem. Just took a couple extra tries here. That one just wiggled free. And now I just clean that board up a little bit. I always like to start with a clean slate with anything, just to make sure the solder is going to adhere properly. There's no other excess residue from the flux. And this battery just snaps right in, no problem. You just have to put a little light pressure on it to make sure that it's held down and in place so those little pins don't fall out of those holes. But then just tack it down with a little excess solder. Go back, add a little bit more. Make sure to hold down a little light pressure on there, and job's done. It looks really nice. I like the way these batteries look with a little yellow around them. Gives it a really nice clean feel. And as you can see there, it stands up nicely because it's got those little prongs that go down. Then I just go back and clean up that area just to make sure there's no excess residue from the flux. And let's test it out. and it tests great. No problems with it whatsoever. Now off camera I actually went through, I played a little section of this game. Make sure that the save battery is working. I went through a few of the teams, changed up their profiles, their rosters, plays, everything like that, and it seemed like it was saving perfectly. So the rattling cartridge just needed a new battery. That's pretty much it. It's still loading up perfect. Seems like it doesn't have any issues. Thanks for watching, and see you next fix.